This is Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core. Here, Laurie delivers information from the Mastery Realms related to astrology, planetary influences, energy surges, and generally how we are evolving. She connects with angels, guides, ascended masters, astro beings, and those that come forward with messages to help us on our journey. Welcome, everyone, to Messages from the Universe podcast.
Hello, I'm Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. Today's topic is it's a time of rewriting or writing new sacred bonds. Venus moves into Cancer on June 17th, and this is a time of experiencing deep emotional connection with ourselves and with those around us. This energy is amplified by the moon moving through Scorpio, creating a very mystical and magical atmosphere, which is ripe for profound transformation and introspection. Mercury squaring Neptune can cause fuzziness in our perception of reality and illusion. This is a time for grounding and the need to be clear on all our communications. There is a huge potential to feel confused as old beliefs fade and new concepts are developed. What is powerful during this time, though, is the placement of Mercury in Cancer that will help us align with new concepts and the thoughts with a more evolved version of our emotions. This notes a new cycle of being emotionally sensitive while still having intuitive insights to the visions of what lay ahead. We are blending heart and mind and aligning our communication styles to deeper emotions and new foundations of beliefs. What matters most is the core of our foundation, our home, family, our tribe, those people that we're around day in and day out. Suddenly, you may understand and be willing to let go of past, strong emotions or beliefs that no longer serve you, and you feel more secure and sure as you find the way forward to what motivates and inspires you. You are complete. The old version of you is behind you, and you actually are entering a new layer or a new version of being. Many people ask what their purpose is. Why are they here? Why are they experiencing a certain event? Even sometimes why they didn't experience something that they expected to have. What's the purpose of the experience? Why would the universe put this in front of me? Many believe they are here for only one thing or a few set things they need to accomplish or they need to learn. But humans and our soul plans are so incredibly complex, it can be difficult for us to understand that we have more than one goal. We have more than one purpose, and those things are shifting and changing at all times simply because the environment around us is changing. We do have more than one purpose, and sometimes a purpose can be helping others achieve their goals or can be part of the collective consciousness. Sometimes those achievements are not personal at all, but are more social or organizational. That could be family, community, even country. We call those collectives or groupings of similar or same goals. And we have contracts and agreements to what we will do or even sometimes what we won't do, what we are promising to do while we are here on our journey on Earth. These are sacred bonds. Our agreements are designed before our journey to Earth, and they have terms much like a contract or an agreement may have. There is fine print and methods to break or quick complete so we don't become trapped or perpetually stuck in any cycle. We are smart, and when we agree or disagree to our actions, there's an understanding that comes. Completion and release. So what are contracts and agreements? Well, the universe is always providing us with opportunities through gateways, supporting surges of energy and experiences that urge us to be curious, to study, get clear on who we are. Each planet holds energy that gives us visibility and a theme to look at. For example, Mercury represents rational and surges with energy that's connected with communication. So that would include communication such as spoken, written. Mercury helps us put things in logical order or get organized. It's also about learning and our skills. And Venus gives us a sense of beauty, enjoyment of pleasure, and awareness of love, harmony, sociability, and certainly relationships. Uranus is about intuition, sudden inspiration, or lightning insights or changes that can come out of left field, things we don't see or expect to happen. Neptune is water and can mute our experiences, give us an illusion, but always represents our mystical experience, our supersensory and transcendental energy. Saturn is how we experience reality, where we meet with resistance and discover our limitations. It represents the conscious and moral conviction, the rules that we choose to adhere to. And these energies of the planets at any given time are going to focus on what we might be struggling with, or those things we want to avoid, or those things we need to work on. It's like the universe will shine a bright light upon those areas we need to look at, those wounds we need to heal, or the skills or pieces of ourselves that it's just time to acknowledge and look at. There's no need to be afraid we're going to miss something, because the universe is magical in shining the light on exactly what we are here to experience. Modern day humans get distracted. We say we're busy, and we encourage, celebrate, and support being busy. There's truth to that. Everything is always moving, so energy in itself can be busy. Unfortunately, for many, this allows us to avoid what is most present, the opportunities that the universe might be bringing forth to us. But the universe reminds us of the hidden parts and pieces of us that are there and are still going to be there until we uncover them. The wounds, the shadows that might be there that we're afraid to look at, those pieces we perceive as wrong, bad, or of course scary. However, those are part of us, and they're part of the construct of us. They are the pieces that contribute to forming us. They are the map of us. We may not like those pieces, but they're not bad. If we don't like them or perceive them as bad, then we have the opportunity to change them. Either that behavior or that belief about the behavior, everything is changeable. This energy is always there, and what is meant for you will not pass you by. It will revolve in another cycle. The universe operates in cycles and seasons and times where we can end or start things, times when we can renew or sign up for another month, another year, another opportunity, like a lease on an apartment or a vehicle lease. There's terms to the agreement, terms we must follow. Who is responsible for what? What actions have to be done? What actions are not to be done? And certainly payment and end of terms. When you pause for a minute and look at everyday life, you realize how many agreements that you are in on a regular basis. Do you have a gym membership? Do you have a mortgage or a lease on your home? Do you have a business that you have a website or software agreements that you need to run your business? Do you have a computer or a phone that you have a plan with essential things that are tied to the use of the phone? If you're married or have been married, or you're in a relationship, you have an agreement. If you have children, you have an agreement to get them to school. They're in sports. They have agreements to practice times and game times, what time those events start and who's running them. When we look in the world of the universe of agreements and contracts, the truth is we live in the third dimension in terms of agreements and contracts. But the universe also has agreements and contracts to our experiences. An agreement is softer. It's like a gentleman's handshake where we have agreed to do or not do something. They're easier to break or alter in the eyes of the universe. Examples of an agreement in the universe would be you agree to pick up your child from their sports event at 3 p.m. However, you might be a bit late or a bit early. You might call ahead, say you're running late. You might even arrange for someone else to pick up your child. There's alternatives and ways to navigate the agreement, and all will be all right. And the concept of agreement with the universe, they are not critical events if you break an agreement, and the universe provides alternatives. In the world of energy, agreements are easier to complete. They're easier to step away from. They're easier to often find alternatives. Contracts have more details. They're more restrictive. They can have more of a binding to them, more ramifications. Some earth contracts examples are illegal marriage has to be legally dissolved. And I'm talking about agreements and contracts with our soul and the universe. A soul contract needs a completion in some form, and it cannot simply be broken. So in the example of where you have a legal marriage and you want to leave that marriage, divorce is the third dimension, but you might have a soul contract that doesn't allow you to leave until you complete the terms of the contract. The best way that I can explain this is the example of where a couple is struggling to leave each other. They might know they're not meant for each other, but it seems impossible to break away. And perhaps there is a soul universal contract that says you're not able to leave this person in this lifetime, or you are not able to leave this relationship until you have completed the terms of the contract. Universe contracts are more binding. They often have terms, conditions that are in the form of learning, supporting, or experiencing. I will do this until I have experienced this, or I have completed learning on this. Another example is I will support this person until they have evolved or they have moved on. I will stay and do what I agree to do until it is complete as stated in the terms. And oftentimes contracts are not breakable. We can attempt to break them, but that's often where the continuation of the experience is carried over with another person or the same person into another lifetime. An example of this might be where you have a soul contract that you need to learn to use your voice to speak your truth, discover your inner power in a certain situation. Maybe it's with the mother energy or a male leader. You may find in your lifetime you have repeating situations where you experience same situations with women in your life or with male leaders. You keep leaving those situations only to have them occur again and again and again. Your contract is to learn to use your voice, speak your truth, discover your inner power in this situation. So until you complete that or you learn that, you will have a series of same events. It's not possible to break that contract. You must complete the terms, the learning. You cannot avoid it, run from it, or ignore it. There will be different times in your life that the planets then will provide the right level of energy for you to understand this, change it, complete it. If you do not complete it, you'll carry this contract with you to the beyond. And this is where the magic of the universe comes in. The universe is always giving us the opportunity to understand, to process, to shift. It's not hopeless. So please don't hear this as, oh my gosh, I have these contracts and I will never be able to get out of them. The universe is always helping us evolve. And if we have an agreement or a contract, it's something that we have done because we believe it's going to advance our soul, or we have agreed to help somebody else advance. Usually it's a loved one. Now, using the same example, but having an agreement that you have to use your voice, speak your truth, and discover something about your inner self, but the parties that you are to have these experiences with don't follow through. If you have agreed to work on finding your inner voice, speak your truth, and discover, but the individual you are working with doesn't, the universe will not make you be stuck in this agreement where you have no control over it. You will or can be released from it. In other words, if remaining stuck in the situation is not creating soul growth, the universe will help you release it. We are in an opportune time right now to release some of those agreements and contracts that we've been in, or to learn from them. Let me share a few examples that I've witnessed in my life. Let's say in examples. We often have a universal energy contract with our partner to help them, to support them with their goals or healing ancestral wounds. Let's say there's a long lineage of alcohol abuse, but this lifetime, that lineage has to stop. That's part of the agreement or the contract. There's an opportunity to heal so that future generations do not carry this pattern. In that relationship, the individuals have a contract with terms to support each other through this process. And I've seen individuals that don't understand why they simply cannot walk away from something they know is bad for them. They struggle with reasoning as to what might be holding them back, what forces them to stay. I always ask, might this be a contract or an agreement? An agreement might say, you support them, but in the event other family members, friends, or something else might help them, you're free to move on. It would be easier to move away from the energy of this situation. A contract might say, no, you will help them no matter what, but you also may be learning compassion, patience, and other skills that you committed to obtain through this experience, regardless of the other person's outcome. As frustrated as you might be to stay, you're committed to stay and help. Now, this just sounds ominous and frustrating and limiting, but If you learn to ask the right questions of your higher self, you gain an understanding of what and why, and that will help you navigate your actions. In this example, asking what you need to do for the contract or the agreement to be complete can give you answers and help along the way. You can also ask what you may need to learn or experience through this event. It's not being afraid to ask why I'm feeling the way I feel or what actions might I be able to take within the limitations of the experience. You're not helpless. And again, the universe is not going to leave you in a detrimental situation. Sometimes I see individuals feel that they failed, or they feel they have no options, or that this is just destiny. They throw up their hands. This is just how it is. But that's not true either. The universe does step in and help, gives us options, ideas, different patterns that we can seek out. Planetary energy surges give us ideas, insights, doorways through options of how we can resolve. This is evolution. We as humans are deeper. We're more evolved. We are here to experience life. So learning to ask what the experience is or was that we're needing to have is key. And sometimes contracts have time completion. Say in the example I just used, the time limitation is 5 years. You might find it suddenly odd that after a period of time, things seem to free up or move along. Sometimes our guides and our soul boards help us navigate these experiences. Nothing can hold us back unless we allow it to hold us back. Some of the agreements and contracts that we carry can have more legal restrictions and be more defined in what's included. And again, generally agreements are softer. We aren't held so tightly to what we've said we do. I find that we have more agreements in lifetimes where we've been with people before and we're giving it another try to see if in this lifetime the outcomes can be different. The soul always learns. So if you don't get it right in one lifetime, we do get other attempts. And even we get other attempts in the same lifetime. The universe does not punish us. I remember as a young woman channeling and getting messages that we experience things over and over and over again until we get them right. We have to complete them. And I questioned that just as I continue to question our journey on a daily basis. Humans are smart, adaptable. We do not like to be in pain or uncomfortable. We figure it out. And the universe is compassionate and helpful. It doesn't just throw us out into the world and not provide insight, help, and hints along the journey. The universe wants us to exceed. It wants us to evolve. And when we do, it celebrates our growth and our evolution. It doesn't just throw us directly into another battle. The universe allows us to rewrite our contracts, maybe soften them into agreements, maybe dissolve them, end them, modify them as we understand and evolve ourselves. And this is the time that we're in right now, is being in this space of really understanding why we're experiencing something, having the thought process to ask the questions, what do I get to learn? What have I learned? What releases me from this? The asking the whys. We're not defenseless. And I believe firmly that we're in a time where we have options to rewrite our stories and therefore rewrite our agreements and our contracts, rewrite or write different experiences that actually match who we are. Because as we evolve and we have different emotions and different beliefs, of course, we would want different agreements. Many of us are completing and sometimes even renewing contracts. Over all the years I've been doing readings and healings for people, I've been able to gain more clarity on how these agreements and contracts work in the universe. Huge spans of time where they tend to be complete and renewed, or new contracts may be defined. They are usually around planetary events like our Saturn return or other life events, marriage, childbirth, a major illness, or other life-critical events. Those are living or third-dimensional events, but there's also energy or universal events where the energy of the planets just change and humanity shifts. These are also related to era endings, like the movement into the age of Aquarius, where we have completed the age of Pisces and all those Pisces contracts. The age of Pisces introduced the concept of surrender, compassion, kindness, charity, empathy, and sacrifice. So we've learned that we don't need to sacrifice things in order to be happy. We've worked deeply on wounds and understanding our emotional body, and that began around 2017. We've worked really hard, and the universe sees that we've worked really hard. In fact, the universe has been supporting us in this work. But now as we're in the age of Aquarius, those values are humanitarianism, knowledge, reason, innovation, and people who work towards greater goals. The balance of the yin and the yang, the masculine, feminine. Our souls are driven to write new contracts and agreements, and that means we have the opportunity to complete those past. This is preparing us for the future and a new way of being. I believe, again, we're in this time now. I'm noticing what might be ending and what opportunities for new, those beginnings that are happening. Notice where you feel restless, where you have a desire for something different, where things are ending or going away in your life, where you might be over the healing process, ready to declare, I'm done. I'm on to something new. You've not forgotten your wounds, but they no longer cripple you from seeing a different future. They're part of you, and they're part of what has gotten you to where you are today. And I encourage you to get excited about your future. Get excited when there is change or a void, because in a void, the universe fills in something that is more magical than we could have believed or dreamed up. Usually the universe fills in with something that's far better than you may have dreamed. Be healthy in how you remember your past as it's part of you, but don't let it anchor you to something that's limiting. Celebrate your freedom, your learnings, your healings, your sense that there's something new and better ahead. And when you're writing those new agreements and contracts, certainly do it with conscious awareness that you're not bringing the pain of the past forward. Remember, every time you look at the past, there is more of it, more to look at, more to discern, more clues, more to leave behind, or more to take forward. Sometimes that can be overwhelming, and it may be time to just declare a clean slate in one area of your life, or it could be multiple areas of your life. Trying to do it all in all areas can be too overwhelming. Start with you. Start small. Start fresh. Don't have expectations and don't let delays frustrate or stop you. Know that anytime there is a completion, new seeds are planted and they need time to germinate and to grow. But sometimes even the selection of what those new seeds take time. Are you giving yourself that space to plan, to look for something new? Are you jumping from healing one thing into just starting something right away? Or are you giving yourself a little bit of time to celebrate, to assess, question where you are? I suddenly have this image of someone planting seeds in a garden, and then as they're looking for growth, they're trampling all the growth. They're not letting it breathe. They're not letting it grow. And I would encourage yourself to let yourself breathe without focus of a new thing or a new direction. Keep that space open. Be present. Be in the moment. Be open to rewriting the possibilities that may be the universe conspiring greatness for you. And use the energy that we're in right now to bring closure to those things that you have been working on. Sometimes we do get tired of working on the growth. Sometimes it's time to just declare it complete and start fresh. Be kind with yourself. Be aware with where you are. And don't be afraid to ask, is this situation an agreement I have with the universe or with this other person or in this situation? Is this situation a contract? Is this experience I'm having a contract I have to complete? Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Ask your guides, your angels for help in discerning and deciphering what you might need to do or not do. This is a time for curiosity, for growth, and of course, always evolution. The universe is always supporting you. Now is no different. Ask your angels and guides to support you, to be there for you, to bring you the messages, the clarity, the information that you might need to navigate with where you are. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe podcast with Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core. For current events or to schedule a private session with Laurie, please visit yourlifecore.com.